You look so proud of yourself.
Such a skinny boy.
I thought that was like a triumphant, but I guess if you were sliding into a small space, it would be triumphant. I know that feeling.
Yeah. It felt really good to just squeeze everything into position. I'm not scarred at all from that. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Candid Creatives.
We are feeling skinny today.
Good golly. All right.
Okay. Boop.
Are we booping first?
We're booping first.
Because I screwed this up last time. Mm-hmm. What's new, though? Okay, so...
I wasn't going to say anything, but just let's boop.
Boop.
Wait.
Well,
yeah.
I don't like the wait.
I don't either, but this is the timer we have, so... I wonder why it does that. I guess we can assess this later.
I think it only does it to drive people nuts.
Could be.
It's a power play by whatever timer company made this.
Absolutely.
You know, you hit the button and then it's like, hey, well, let's wait a couple of seconds just to freak this guy out, and it worked.
It does, and you know what? It freaks us out every time. Like, did it go? Did it not go?
I know, and then you keep tapping, and then it's just prolongs it. All right. Since I got in trouble last time for yickety yakking.
No.
Oh, now, but at least the timer's going.
You got in trouble for yickety yakking before the timer.
Right. Oh, now I'm okay. Now I'm in the clear because the timer.
Sorry, guys. I just opened it up for his chatting. No, chat.
How do you think extroverts work?
I have no idea. Oh man, if I knew that, I don't understand you. I mean, extroverts in general.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a different mentality.
Well, it's not like we've got a little string that you pull in the back and it's like just chat.
I think you guys pull your own string in the back. You just seem to keep going or start going.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, question time.
But what?
No. Oh, okay, continue. You pulled your string. Go. I'm listening.
I just wanted to state my case.
I
That's
know.
all.
I'm listening. Let's do it.
No, I don't want to.
No, I want to hear state your case for being an extrovert.
No, it's not a case for being an extrovert. I don't need to defend it.
Well, what are you defending then?
I just wanted to explain that I'm not just chatting out into the ether for my own benefit. Like, ideally, it's a two-way street, even if the street is just a laugh coming back.
Yeah.
Which even then is rare. Okay, let's just pick one here.
I hope you pick one of mine, and I hope it's a good one.
Well, that's the fact that it's going to be both of those things is rough. I mean, it is one of yours.
Yes.
But it does have a little carrot in it, so I don't know if that makes it a good one.
Oh, probably not. What do you mean a carrot?
Like
I messed up?
Like an inserted word.
Oh. Okay. Read. Yeah.
Here's the question. Does good art come from practice or innate talent? And just to specify, good is in quotes. I don't know if you meant that for me.
I'm not sure either. And it's good with a carrot. I don't know why good would be in quotes, but I do think it's just.
I like how you put the carrot above the.
What do you mean? Where would you put the carrot?
I would put the carrots underneath the line of the text. Yes.
Then no.
No. The carrot always goes beneath the line.
I don't think I knew that was even the right use of carrot. I mean, mine. I didn't know there was a proper way to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I understand what you're going for here, which some people would argue is good enough.
Good. Good in quotes.
Yeah. So does good art come from practice or innate talent?
Oh, gosh. Well, yeah, because that almost kind of this was a good question. Good job, Lauren.
Yeah. I would pat yourself on the back for that.
I don't really know the answer to this one, but I think that you could almost immediately go to the place of, I think I said innate talent there, but I'm like, is innate talent, like, I don't think you need the word innate, right? Like, does art come from practice or does it come from talent? And I think the cheaty answer is both, but then you get to like this idea of like the child prodigies, like I'm picturing like the piano, like the kids that are like 4 and play the piano way better at 4 than I did after years of taking practice. So I would say that that's talent, innate talent. I mean, like, right? Or is...
I don't know. I mean, I'll keep going if you have thoughts. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
here.
no. I mean, like, I feel confused because on one hand I hear those stories, and so I think there probably is something to talent. Like you were born, like some people are born with something really, really incredible. But then I also think like in the case of like, I am terrible at drawing, well, drawing in general, but in particular at drawing like people or like sketches of like animals, like drawing a horse, whereas my mom is quite good at it. And not to say that my mom isn't talented, I think that she is, but I also know that she's told me that she practiced drawing horses a lot as a kid, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
definitely did not. So you go. I'm still thinking. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in talent or not.
I don't believe in talent. I think everybody is worthless when they're born, talent wise. And okay, maybe I should rephrase. I'm exaggerating. But I think that maybe there's natural inclinations.
Okay.
But even then, I should be careful with the word natural because it may not be natural. Maybe as a kid, I noticed that my parents paid me more attention or something if I was acting like a goofball. And so maybe that reinforced, okay, act like a goofball and you'll get more ice cream sandwiches or something, get more attention from parents. I still actually to this day, most.
Here you go, goofball. Have an ice cream sandwich. Whoa, we had different upbringings, I guess.
That's the title of this episode. Here you go, goofball. Here's another ice cream sandwich. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm totally theorizing here, but maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
I can't let this go. Ice cream sandwich seems specific.
Well,
You must have gotten an ice cream sandwich when you were goofy one time and internalized it.
I was trying to make something up.
I'm going to ask the parents after this. Okay.
You
Okay,
should.
I distracted you.
So what was Anthony's deal with ice cream sandwiches? Yeah, I think maybe there's inclinations towards certain ways of behavior. Although who knows? Maybe you're a complete blank slate when you're a baby, and it's almost like like when inflation happened, in the Big Bang, and there was just slight imbalances or slight heavier concentrations of like matter here versus another place, and then fast forward 14 billion years, and we have galaxies as opposed to a uniform sea of matter and energy. Maybe that's the same way with a baby, where, and this is coming from somebody without a baby, obviously, but like they're a complete blank slate, and maybe even just they cry, their little experimenter thing, like, well, let's try crying a little bit more, and it's like, oh, we get more attention for that. Oh, okay, so now I'm going to be an extrovert, or. Or where it's like, well, let's try playing with our fingers to soothe ourselves. And your brain is like, okay, well, I'm going to be an introvert. Yeah, I mean, like maybe there are certain things. I don't know. I'm going to go. I don't know if I have an answer yet. I mean, like, well, you hear stories about like Michael Jordan.
Right. I was just going to say sports because like it seems like, yeah, keep going.
Like you hear, like, obviously he's a great basketball player. Let's accept that. But he was cut. The stories are he was cut from like his freshman high school basketball team, but then he practiced like crazy, doing thousands of free throws or whatever, and then eventually he got good. Okay, well, obviously he wasn't obviously born with the basketball gene if he got cut, but maybe he was born with like a dedication gene, or something like maybe he was more dedicated to his craft, or maybe he received some sort of positive reinforcement because of what he was doing I don't know.
Okay, so this is because I think I'm agreeing with you, but devil's advocate
Okay.
here. So don't name names, but let's imagine in the comedy scene, let's make up two people, Bob and Jay, right?
Bob and Jay.
Bob and Jay. Bob is new to the comedy scene, very new, but immediately starts gaining traction. Like he's only been doing it a year, dabbling in it really, and all of a sudden is freaking hilarious, gets a Netflix special. Jay has been doing this for 20 years. He goes to every single open mic. He takes every single class. He writes every single day. And that's not, like, he's funny in this example. Like, he's okay, but he's not great. He's not getting a Netflix special. He's not booking show. He's still not getting paid necessarily. Is Bob more talented? Was Bob just lucky? did Bob, and let's pretend that Bob didn't even like didn't write a single thing, didn't do anything with stand-up comedy until a year ago, and he is further ahead in his career than Jay. Explain.
Okay, that's a great question. I think there's a couple things at
I
play.
hope you don't know any Bob and Jays. If you do, we're not talking about you.
No, I know one Jay, but he's not in New York,
All right.
and I don't we're not
Okay.
tight. And I don't think I know any Bobs. I probably know some Bobs. Bob, if you're out there, sorry I forgot about you. Maybe I should have just defaulted to I know some Bob and Jays.
but at least Bob's talented, so.
Right, yeah, he's okay. So Bob's the talented one, Jay's
Yeah.
the schmuck. Okay.
I hear
Well,
it.
okay. So I would argue. Well, I would define a couple of things. Number one, you said, is it luck? You asked that question.
Well, yeah.
I think that we need to put each in this argument. It's two comedians, but in any artist, I think we need to put them in a time and a place in order to evaluate success, both popular success, which I will differentiate from craft, like mastery, because there are a lot of people, I think there are a lot of Bobs out there right now in the comedy world who are popularly successful, but are terrible joke writers. They're not master craftsmen in that sense.
Okay. I
go
get
ahead.
what you're saying. So let's not even say like successful. Let's say funnier, because I think we can't I know that that's subjective,
Yeah.
but I mean there are some people that will get up on stage and consistently get laughs more than maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. That in the comedy world, some people that get up, and even though I know every crowd is different, and every set is a little bit different. And so of course, sometimes you may get more laughs than others, all those things. I understand that. But that a Bob who pretty consistently gets up there and
Yeah.
is very consistently funny.
Right.
And then a Jay who's trying so friggin' hard and just doesn't really get that many laughs.
Yeah, I identify much more with the Jays of the world. No, I don't know. I mean, okay, so let's say objectively funnier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's hard because subjectivity is sort of part of art, but yeah,
Sure.
let's for
We'll
sake
ta-
of argument.
We'll take for granted that there is some sort of
Yes.
way to objectively measure funniness, and this person Bob is objectively funnier than Jay, despite
Right.
being new to the game, whatever. I'm actually still reticent to say it's talent, because I actually would say Bob may have maybe it's intuition.
Reticence is a good word.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Intuition. Okay.
I think Bob might have a better intuition for comedy, in the sense that maybe he's more relaxed on stage, and the jokes that he is telling are better received. A scientific test might be, what if we put Jay's jokes into Bob's act, and let's see, is Jay just a terrible performer, or does he just suck at delivering his own jokes even? Or if we gave them to Bob, would he still crush? And maybe for this argument, we can say that Bob still would crush. So we're even taking the writing out of it.
But isn't that so? But if we're going with the question of practice, though, and because Jay is if Jay's practicing all the friggin' time, maybe practice isn't enough if you don't have the right intuition. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, yes. That I am saying that practice isn't enough if you don't have the right intuition, and I think that intuition is. Well, see, now we can further refine the question to say, is intuition innate in this argument? And I don't know. Maybe it's just that Bob's a little more free, and maybe in the 1 year that Bob's been doing it, and the 6 years that Jay's been doing it, maybe Bob has freed himself up to experiment and try a lot of different things to see what fits. Oh, the angry comic thing, that's not working. What if I was the philosophical guy? Oh, that seems to be hitting a little bit. Maybe I'll double down on that and try that. Maybe I'll still experiment with some whatever, some dirty comedy or some political stuff, whatever it is. Maybe he freed himself up to experiment, whereas Jay was just set in Jay's ways. Still writes, but still, doesn't get. It's like getting a little bit better.
Right. So he's practicing, but not necessarily at applying those efforts in the right way.
Right.
Okay.
I almost look at it, and I know there's names for this, but I can't remember the names. But it's like if you're selling a product on Facebook, or you're running Facebook ads, and you don't know your exact market, you could kind of shotgun a bunch of different avatars or a bunch of different profiles and see, okay, well, is it males or females, or what income level, what hobbies, just get a smattering. And then all of a sudden, okay, we got a couple of things that were objectively better, that hit better. So what if we tried those two now and start A/B testing those? Maybe Bob, or maybe Bob is the better one. Maybe Bob is better at doing that, or did that, whereas Jay's like, if he were running ads in this analogy, he's just targeting dudes in their 20s with day jobs in finance or something. I don't know. And like, maybe that's not hidden.
Okay. So then do you think someone related, like just to stick with the comedy thing, do you think there's a such thing as somebody being like naturally funny? Like, do you think that there are funny people and not funny people? Or do you think that there's just like goofy kids getting ice cream sandwiches and they became the funny ones because of the same ice cream sandwiches?
Well,
because like personality, I mean, like his personality's real, right? Like that's a thing.
yeah.
Ish. So like, and then is it then certain personalities combined with certain interests make someone better at something?
I think that, well, to answer your first question, I definitely think that there are funny people and there are unfunny people. Like we know both. Like, and I don't know how to quantify the difference exactly, or qualify it even, other than it seems like the unfunny people sometimes are too literal and are unwilling to, and I think maybe that's part of comedies. You have to be a little bit more willing to see maybe a different definition of
Right.
a word or something.
So could an unfunny person be a good comedian? Could you practice enough? Ooh, see, we're really latched on a comedy, but it's an intriguing topic.
Yeah, I think that's a great, at least it's one lens through which we're viewing this question, to explore this topic. I think they could deliver a good joke. They might get laughs. But I don't know if an unfunny person can sustainably do this and sustainably get laughs in a room. Because it's hard. Not only do you have to have the jokes, you have to be able to read the crowd, work with it really is a conversation. It really is a conversation. And I think some people are better at that conversing than others. But I do think if you I think people who are open to learning could get there. Maybe Jay's just a slow learner in this sense.
Maybe. Poor Jay.
Jay's having a tough time.
He's trying so hard.
God, not really. Yeah. So I don't know though. But back to the question of innate. Is it innate?
Yeah, I kind of like this gut reaction of me wants to say, yeah. Like some people were born, like probably like if you take two 10-year-olds and you give them watercolors for the first time and are like, paint that fruit basket. I think, and like neither one has done any kind of paint before.
Are they named Bob and Jay?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, young Bob and Jay. I don't know. I think I think one is going to be potentially, one could be much better than the other. One could be quite good at it. And I don't know. This almost kind of goes back to like the muse question of like what comes from within and we don't realize it. But I'm like, if you've never picked up a paintbrush before, how what kind of ice cream sandwich influence could you have had before that makes you randomly really good at this particular thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, what if we kick it over to writing? Like fiction for a minute. And do you think like if there's a Bob and a Jay, is there a difference there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, there's always like the same question too of there are people that are popular for and that sometimes is just like that's hitting, I think, at the right time.
Right. It's not good writing, but it's
Yeah, or not even that. But I mean, like, yeah, it's just like for whatever reason, it like something takes off in a specific space. But in terms of, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of think, yeah, that there are people like I think of Nora Roberts, and granted, by now she's had a ton of practice, but having read her first book, her first manuscript, back from like 40 years ago, her first published book.
right, right.
Of course, I think her stuff now is better because she's had more practice, but I still think her first book is better than a lot of other authors' later books. Like her and her newbie stage was still really, really good.
Now, how much of that do you think due to like again this innate sense excuse me, this innate sense of storytelling or her command of the English language
I don't know.
or both?
Yeah, maybe both. Because I mean, like it's the same thing with comedy. There's a bunch of different factors that come into play. But no, I feel like that complicates it. Yeah, I feel like there is a such thing as good writing and excellent writing and bad writing.
Yeah.
And I do think absolutely there's always room to improve. But I think for whatever reason, other people have different starting points.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's I think that approaches the limit of my explanation of trying to teach somebody something. Like we aren't all blank slates.
Right.
I think. Like for some reason we all start at a slightly different combination of skills. I don't think any of those are fully formed. It's not like somebody's going to pop out of the womb, dribbling a basketball.
Right. But it does seem like these little
It'd be a
piano
big
players, unless it's been proven to be a myth. Like I think I did feel like I read something where it's like there's some factor that goes into these 5-year-olds that are really fantastic. But like it does always kind of seem like there are these stories about, it's mostly musician piano players. Apparently, it's the only one I know. But like you
Right.
hear about them all the time, like these little kids that are prodigies. Like they have not had, like, isn't it like 40,000 hours or 10,000 hours? 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Like
Which was actually proven to be bunk.
right, but like there still is like a lot of, like if you do 10,000 hours at something, you're probably going to improve.
Yeah.
So like these are like they haven't had time to do 10,000 hours of playing the piano because they're 4, but they are still somehow better than somebody else that's been practicing for 10,000 hours.
Right.
That's weird.
Well, yeah. So actually, let's take one of those kids. Would they have the same sort of
Bob?
Yeah.
Jay? It's Bob. Bob is the good one. Jay sucks.
Right.
For
Okay.
our examples.
Yes. So Bob, this 5-year-old, whatever, that's just crushing on piano. It's obviously not a piano gene. It's
That'd be cool.
It would be pretty cool. But it must be they've hit the lottery of maybe musical. Maybe they're better at intoning, or understanding musical notes, so they can hear music better. And maybe they also have dexterity, like that's important. And then maybe like a musical feel as well, like being able to interpret the piece and then play it.
And is that like the dexterity? I could see that being something because they do some other activity that gives them finger dexterity. For those listening, we are both wiggling our fingers around for the entire conversation.
You're talking to two piano players.
Air piano playing. But like the being naturally musical, isn't that the same thing as being talented?
Yeah.
If you're
okay.
You said like innate tonality or something. I forget what word you just used. Like that's musical talent, or at least it's a huge factor of it. Yes.
Which, but then, yeah, that is probably part of it. But I think what I'm maybe trying to differentiate is it's not talent. Maybe I'm backing off here. I think the term, like, let's say musical talent or comedic talent is kind of an amalgamation of these different skills that you have at birth. Perhaps, and that you've kind of honed a little bit enough to where we can say, oh, this child has natural talent in this thing. So maybe if it's sports talent, basketball or something, it's hand-eye coordination. Maybe they were born a little bit ahead of the rest, or ahead of their peers, or something, and then were nurtured by their parents.
Yeah. Although I feel like, and maybe this isn't fair, but doesn't it feel like sports talent in sports, athletic talent, and artistic talent are slightly different? Because a lot of, and this is not true across the board, but like in general, you can have in sports, being taller is often an advantage. Not like always, but like
right
in general.
Yeah, I can't think of it. Are there any sports where being shorter is better? Is there anything?
Well, no, but I mean, like there are shorter basketball players that are good. That's what I'm.
Sure. Right.
But yeah, in general, you're going to have an advantage probably. Whereas I don't know if that's for art. Like let's take Jason, right? Cartooning. Like it's not like he's like has like this magical like finger grip or something that like he was just born with his fingers were born to do this.
They were all the right length to be able to do.
Yeah. Like the way that he holds the pen, like that is like talent that has nothing to do with his physical makeup. Sorry, Jason. This is getting weird.
Yes. Right.
Because it's more, and I feel like I'm not meaning to at all say like athletes, there's no like mental quality, because of course there's so much that has to do about the mental state and all that.
Right.
But for like coming up with something creative, like a piece of music, I don't know. I feel like that kind of almost comes back to the muse topic of last week of like, is there this like external energy source bestowing gifts,
Yeah.
Wait, really quick. Isn't it, this isn't really quick, we have 3 minutes, but isn't it true, and I think I'm remembering this, that like Einstein, they know after the fact, like his brain was special?
Yes, his corpus callosum had much more.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but like, geek. You have an ice cream sandwich. Good job, Goofball. No, but like maybe there are things that we don't know about brain makeup in other ways.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, like someone was really, really good at the 10-year-old that was great at watercolor because their brain was slightly different. Or maybe Bob is slightly funnier than Jay, no matter how hard Jay tries, because Bob's brain is slightly different.
Right.
Maybe.
That would actually be really interesting, in the same way that we, preserved Einstein's brain and then figured out like, and I won't go into the geeky stuff, but I wonder if we could scan, kids' brains now and who are like really good at piano and figure out, compare, and then
That
put our
would be
brains in
interesting.
there.
Yeah. Well, even like, and you have way more practice in piano. Like I do know that, but like even still, like I see the way that you approach piano, the way that I approach piano, and it's like different. Like I think you are 100% more musically talented than me. Even the way like when you play music, like I have like zero rhythm, and you're like always moving around, and I'm like barely figuring out how to tap my foot. But we've listened to similar amounts of music, especially. Yeah, I think we've been exposed to music equally.
That could be true. That could be true.
I mean, I listened to a lot of Amy Grant back in the day.
Hell should I? Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know. We always had music going on growing up. We had a music room in the house. Like my dad had his drum set up.
Yeah, we had a lot of music. I guess maybe not playing like constantly, but like my dad loves music.
And I started a piano like when I was 7.
That's true.
That's
true.
When did you start? You were like 12? 22?
Oh, no, 5th grade. So not that.
17?
However old you are in 5th or 6th grade.
Well, I was 11. I think everybody else is 10.
Or was I 8th grade? I don't know how old I was, but I was older than you.
Okay.
Point taken. Okay, we have 1 minute left.
Okay, all right.
Let's just get back to the question.
Hell should I?
In one word or one sentence, does good art come from practice or innate talent?
Can I say both?
No. Nope.
Got another word for this.
No, you can. You can.
No, that's fine. Okay, so practice or innate talent. Practice.
I think I'm going to say talent, but I also want to say both.
Well, okay, we have 49 seconds
Okay,
left.
okay.
Could you argue though that it's a function of both innate talent and practice, and that if you're lacking in innate talent, maybe you can overcome that with practice?
I guess, but I still think Jay could practice all day. I think Jay could practice until Jay's 80 and potentially never be as funny as someone that's been doing it for a year. Bob.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the same, and not just in comedy. Like I think that is true of somebody that's painting, right? Their heart could be in acrylics, and they just I don't really obviously know my painting mediums, guys, but like in like whatever it is. Also stick with watercolor. I'm like so devoted to watercolor. You do it every single day, all day, and I think there's going to be someone. Oh, there's time. I think there's going to be someone that can come along and just blow you out of the water.
Yeah.
That just started, and it sucks, but I think.
Well, and
It's
then
true.
this maybe is a question for another day. It has to be
We
because
should
we're
write
out
it
of
down.
time. But what does that mean for the individual artist?
Yeah.
Like if you discover you're not the most talented,
Right. Are you meant to do something else? Should you go figure out what you are talented in?
right?
Okay.
All right. Well,
This is a good one.
I'm gonna go get
I have
another.
lots of thoughts. I'm going to go get Anthony an ice cream sandwich. And it's, until next time.
Goofball need ice cream. All right. Thanks, guys.